Hey guys, tonight we step into a story that doesn't wait for you to be ready. The train arrived on time, but time forgot to meet it. Names were written, then smeared, then replaced with numbers. A platform waited, but no footsteps echoed back. You do not remember arriving, but your shadow still waits. Some stories are too quiet to be buried, so they remain. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your city and local time in the comments. I always love seeing where my night owls are tuning in from. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You arrive with the whistle. It cuts through the flat fields of Kansas like a blade through linen. The wheels sigh into stillness. But the doors don't open. Not right away. The platform is quiet. Too quiet. No townsfolk, no signs, no clamor of adopted parents holding papers and holding hope. Only the wind. Only the empty benches with rusted armrests. And the station master, who looks at the train the way someone might look at a mirror that isn't reflecting anything. Inside, you're told to wait. And so you do. Hours pass. Someone says this is a mix-up. Someone else says there's another town down the line. Maybe this isn't the place. But the ticket said, here. A conductor flips his ledger upside down, then right again, squinting as if the names have reordered themselves when no one was looking. You're given an apple. It tastes of iron and dust. You're told to sit still, and you do, because that's what you've always done. No one remembers boarding the train. Not really. Some say it came from St. Louis. Others recall Peoria. A few swear the children came straight from New York, but none of them agree on the year. That's the part that's hardest to get right. Even the records argue with each other. What day it arrived. How many passengers. If they were children at all. Outside, the sun begins to dip behind a water tower. Long shadows stretch from the train cars like fingers reaching for something long forgotten. One girl whispers that she saw someone waiting, a man in a black coat. But when others look, there's only the fading outline of a suitcase on the gravel, still warm. The door finally opens. The first breath of air tastes like mothballs and moldy cloth. You expect a hand, a guide, but there is only the platform. And beyond that, the tall grass sways like it knows a secret it isn't ready to tell. You step down, shoes too big. You don't remember who gave them to you. The others follow. No one speaks. They just walk toward the station. The conductor closes his book, snaps the latch, and without a word, the train breathes once more. Steam, then motion. It leaves slowly as if hoping someone might stop it. No one does. You watch it go, not knowing that none of you were ever supposed to get off here, and that someone, somewhere, is still waiting at the next stop, holding a name that never got called, holding a future that never arrived, holding a letter that begins with "Dear Child," but ends in empty space. Because you didn't make it. Because you were dropped off into the wrong kind of silence. And the train kept going. You're led down a path that no one built. It winds behind the station, through waist-high weeds and brush that smells of old water and forgotten harvests. There is no road, no welcome sign. Only a worn fence leaning like it's too tired to hold secrets anymore. Ahead, a building rises from the dusk like a memory forming too late. Not a house. Not a school. Something in between built for bodies too small to own either. The paint is the color of things left out in the rain. You are told this is temporary, that someone will come, that forms are being sent, that there are good families in Missouri, in Iowa, in Nebraska. All they need is a little more time. But you begin to notice something. There are no clocks. Not here. Only bells that ring at strange hours, as if tethered to someone else's time zone. Inside, there are beds, iron frames, wool blankets. The windows are too high for children to reach, as if someone once feared they might try to climb out. A woman with a clipboard calls your name, except it's not your name, not the one you remember. It is similar, like someone misspelled it, then got used to the mistake. She writes it down anyway, in ink that bleeds through the paper. She says something about placement, but her voice fades before the word lands. You nod. Because what else can you do? Later in the dining room, you stare at soup. It's gray. It doesn't taste bad. It doesn't taste like anything. The others eat slowly, quietly, like they don't want the food to know they're still alive. One boy speaks. He says he's already been here twice, that he remembers this place, the bent fork in the drawer, the squeaky floorboard near the stove. But someone else insists it's impossible. He came from Kentucky. There is no way. The boy insists anyway. Says his name was different then. Says it used to be Paul. Or maybe Peter. He isn't sure anymore. You begin to wonder how many names you've already worn like hand-me-down coats. One of the girls finds a diary, half-burned, tucked behind a loose panel in the hallway. Inside are drawings, children, trains, houses with no windows. There's a date, but it's from 10 years ago. And on the last page, a note. I was supposed to go to Kansas City, but they never called my number. You sleep poorly that night, not because of fear, but because you don't feel tired. Like your body hasn't realized the day has ended. From your bunk, you hear a whistle in the distance. Another train, or maybe the same one, still circling the Midwest, still looking for the stop it missed. And in the quiet, someone down the hall begins to hum. A tune that doesn't end, just loops. Like the kind sung to babies to lull, to hush, to keep from waking up too much. In the morning, a new girl is in the room. No one saw her arrive. She doesn't speak, just stares out the high window, her fingers tracing shapes in the frost. You ask her name, she blinks, then says yours, perfectly, like she was waiting to give it back. You are not sure how many days have passed. The bells keep ringing, but no one follows them anymore. You eat when you're hungry. You sleep when the light disappears. The staff comes and goes. Different faces, same instructions. Be ready. Families are coming. Soon. They always say soon, but the bulletin board remains empty. A string once held papers. Now it hangs loose, like a thread waiting for its story. Someone has marked the wall beside your bed. Small carved lines in the paint. Too many to count. Too deep to ignore. At breakfast, a boy named Ellis points to a newspaper clipping taped inside the pantry door. Look, he whispers. The headline says, Adoption Surge Declines. Orphan Trains to be Phased Out. The article is dated 3 years ago. You read it twice. No one explains how your train still ran, why you were still sent. The girl who said your name is now called Clara. She still hums the lullaby at night. It never changes. You ask where she came from. She shrugs, then says, the same place we all did. But her eyes don't blink when she says it. Later, you find an attic. Locked. But the lock is old, and the wood gives way with enough pressure. Inside, suitcases. Dozens, each with a name tag, each covered in dust. Some are yours. Not your name exactly, but ones you remember answering to. Samuel. Louis. Micah. Names said by lips you can't quite picture. There are toys inside. Notes. Photographs faded to the point of smudge. A doll's head with no body. A leather shoe too small for any foot now. And in the far corner, a trunk labeled, Not Yet Placed. It is the only one that's unlocked. Inside is a stack of letters. All unsent. All written in the same uneven hand. Some are addressed to towns that don't exist anymore. Millridge. Ashbel. North Glass. You check the map in the library. None of them are marked. None have ever been marked. Clara enters behind you. She says nothing. Just touches the edge of the not yet placed trunk and smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. She says, they think the trains took us away. Then, after a pause, but I think they were bringing us back. You don't know what she means. You're not sure you want to. That night you dream of the platform again. But this time, the benches are full. Every child is waiting. Every face is blurred. And they all have your name. You wake to silence. Even the bells have stopped ringing. The next morning, the wind changes. You notice at first through the cracks in the window pane the way the curtains no longer stir. The air feels different. Not colder, just stiller, as if the house itself has begun to hold its breath. You step into the hallway. The floors creak, but not in protest. More like memory, the kind of sound that follows you instead of leading. On the stairwell wall, a new photograph has appeared. Sepia tones. Children lined up outside a train car. Their faces faint, nearly erased by light. One of them wears your coat, the frayed sleeve, the mismatched button. You stare at it for a long time. No one else mentions the photo. No one else seems to see it. You wonder how many other things have appeared without being noticed. The dining room has been rearranged. Chairs now line the wall instead of circling the table. A clipboard rests where the soup ladle used to hang. A new list. Columns, Name, destination, status. Only one row is filled in. It reads, Clara returned. You look for her that afternoon. She is not in the dormitory. Not in the attic. Not humming. Her bed is gone. Not just empty gone. As if it was never placed there. You ask Ellis. He doesn't remember her. He tilts his head like a dog hearing something distant, then shrugs. She left? Or maybe she never was? That night, you lie awake, listening. Not for footsteps, but for the train. And when it comes, it does not sound like a whistle. It sounds like pages turning, thousands, in unison. You rise, feet bare against the cold floor. You follow the sound. Back to the attic. The not yet placed trunk is open again. The letters are gone. In their place is a ledger, thick, leather-bound, smelling of dust and time. You flip to the last page. Your name is there, spelled correctly, then crossed out. Below it, one word, withdrawn. You don't know what it means, but it feels final. You hear the train whistle again, closer now. But when you run to the window, the tracks are gone, as if they were never laid. As if the train you remember rode on something older than metal, older than earth. You return to your bed. The ceiling above you has changed. A mural now painted directly onto the plaster. A boy in a wool coat walking into the fog. No face, no hands, only a name stitched into the coat's lining. Yours. You close your eyes and feel the building exhale around you. Not collapse, not disappear, just release, like the end of a breath too long held. Like a story that has been waiting to be forgotten. You wake to the sound of someone writing. Slow, deliberate. Each stroke of the pen scratches the air like footsteps down a gravel path. You rise and follow the sound. It leads you to a room you've never seen. Or maybe one you've always known, just not like this. A long wooden table. Stacks of paper reaching like towers. A man sits at the far end, back turned. Gray coat. Thin shoulders. He doesn't look up. He doesn't stop writing. You clear your throat. He pauses. Then, in a voice soft as flint. You're early. You ask what this place is. He doesn't answer. Just gestures to the wall. You turn. Rows upon rows of names. All written in black. All crossed out in red. Some are barely legible. Others look freshly inked. You find one you almost recognize. Then another. And another. The dates vary wildly. 1912. 1946. 8/28. The same name, each time, slightly altered, as if trying different versions of a person until the story sticks. The man speaks again. They keep sending them. His voice is brittle. Not old. Just tired. The trains. You ask where they come from. He shrugs. Depends who's looking. You step closer. Hez writing in a book just like the one from the attic. The same cracked spine. The same smell of salt and forgotten hands. You glance at the page. Your name. Again. But this time, the ink hasn't dried. The letters still breathe. He looks up. And now you see his face. It is not unfamiliar. Not quite yours, but something close. Like a face you tried on once and left behind. He says, You've stayed too long. You ask what happens now. He dips the pen. Scribbles one word beneath your name. Observed. The sound it makes soft and final, like a door closing in a dream. The room dims, not darker but thinner, as if the walls are becoming paper, as if the light is being written over. You step back. He is gone. The book remains. You open it again. The pages are blank. All of them, except the last one. There, a message. You were always here. You leave the room. The hallway is longer than it was. Paint peels like bark. The doors are sealed shut with wax. One of them breathes. In. Out. A low sound, like someone dreaming. You do not open it. You do not ask. You keep walking. Back to the dormitory. Back to your bunk. It is smaller now. The ceiling lower. The sheets already turned down. A slip of paper rests on your pillow. It says, Final departure pending. But there's no date. Only a small stamped word. Eventually. You lie down. Close your eyes. Try to remember your first train ride. Try to remember if it had ever ended. But the wheels keep turning. Always turning. And the station, if there ever was one, remains out of reach. You are still in motion. Still arriving. Still waiting to be received. The days no longer follow each other. They fold, overlap, repeat in small ways. A spoon left exactly where it was yesterday. A bird outside the window that never flies away. The same dream, each night standing at the edge of a platform, watching a train arrive with no doors. You begin to forget the names of the other children, or maybe they begin to forget themselves. Faces blur, voices lose tone. They all start speaking slower, as if underwater, or as if rehearsing lines they never chose. One day a new child arrives. She is older than the others. She walks like she remembers where she's going, but no one asks her name. It doesn't seem to matter. You try to speak to her, but she looks through you, not past you through. That night she sleeps in the hallway. Not on a bed, just on the floor, head resting on a book she brought with her. In the morning she's gone. The book is gone, but her place smells faintly of lilac and ink. You begin to wonder if you're next. Not to leave, but to fade. Your hands look paler in the morning. Your breath doesn't fog the window like it used to. Ellis doesn't answer when you speak. Clara's bunk is back but untouched. Fresh sheets. No dust. No warmth. Someone placed a small brass key on her pillow. No one dares move it. The attic is locked again. But sometimes when you pass the stairs, you hear a train slowing down. Just outside. You run to the window. Nothing. Only the tall grass. Only the fields. Only the sky holding its silence like an old grudge. You return to the dormitory. Your name has been erased from the foot of your bed. The wall is blank. You search for your coat. Gone. Shoes. Gone. No one is in the building now, but you never heard them leave. Only the soft sound of wind curling under doors. You walk down the main hallway. Light pools on the floor like melted wax. Everything smells like paper that's been read too many times. You reach the front door. It is slightly open. Outside, the platform is waiting, just like before. Only now, the benches are full. You step forward. They all turn to look. Their faces are yours. Different ages. Different clothes. Same eyes. They nod, slowly, and you understand. You were always supposed to arrive, but no one ever promised you would be claimed. So now you rest, not in a bed, not in a building, but in the soft, unread corners of a story no one meant to tell. The train has moved on, but its path remains carved in memory, not in steel. And you, somewhere between arrival and departure, between a name and the absence of one, still drift quietly across that platform, still waiting, still watching the fog for someone who might call you home, but not with urgency, not with grief, only with the gentle understanding that some stories take longer to be heard, and longer still to end. Perhaps you were never meant to be forgotten, just postponed, just misplaced, like a letter whose address changed too many times. And now, in this silence where paper sighs and names breathe slowly in ink, you can finally loosen your grip. No need to be found tonight. Only to float a little. Only to dream. Sweet dreams.